Good evening, everybody. You are tuned in to Crag. So, again, it's another episode of The Whiskey Man. Uh, so, where are we today? What whiskey are we going to be reviewing today? Well, I went and got myself a bottle of Jameson Black Barrel. Because Irish whiskies, if you've watched the last two episodes of this, Irish whiskies there's something that I'm starting to try and do a little bit more research into, or at least my palate is, because they're an absolute delight. I mean, as I said before, you can't make the comparison, and you could never ever know the stark difference that Irish whiskies have to Scotch unless you've tried them both. I mean, obviously that's a given, right? But you've got to try it because it's ultimately, for me, Irish whiskies are exciting. For me, as you can tell, I'm quite excited right now because I'm about to get my old lips around the neck of that bottle. But they're just so exciting because you've got Scotch whiskies, like, right? You look at Scotch, you've got the different areas in Scotland that the flavours tend to come from. But Irish whiskies are just so I suppose what I'm trying to say is, with the Scotches, with the Scotch, you know exactly, I suppose, within a ballpark, what you're going to get if you buy a whiskey from this area, this area, this area, or this area. You know, you can kind of just understand, right, if you buy an Islay, it's going to be smoky, all right? But with the Irish whiskies, it's just so, for me, it's an unknown quantity because I did a little bit of reading up on Irish whiskies and why, because I thought, why aren't they called single malts? Because you find with Scotch whiskies, it's always either a blended or a single malt. So I thought to myself, right, well, since I'm new to all of this whiskey malarkey, what I'm going to do is all this whiskey bollocks. I'm actually going to read something, dust the old eyes off and do a bit of reading. So I looked into what malts are, right? So basically, you get the grain, okay? You get the grain that the whiskey is made from. Now, ultimately, malt is where they soak it. And that's all it is. They soak the grain and turn it into a malted grain. So that's basically it. So if you think about it, and if you're, say for instance, you're in Islay, where there's loads of fucking peat bogs and stuff apparently, you're taking that water that's got that harsh, intense flavour already in it, that smokiness in it, and then you're soaking it into the grain. Then you're making the whiskey from that grain and using the same water to produce the spirit itself. Now, ultimately, that is going to infuse such an intense flavour in that spirit once it's distilled. Now, what they do with the Irish whiskies, the reason why they can't call it malt whiskey or single malt whiskies for that fact, is because what they do is they malt some of the grain. They soak some of the grain, but then they keep some of the grain just as it is, like a green fucking grain. Okay, so that's what, and then they mix them both together. So they blend the two grains together, which is the malted grain and the standard, like just picked fresh grain. They mix that and create the spirit from that, which I find fascinating personally. I find it absolutely fascinating, and this is why I like the Irish whiskies the way I do, because I feel as though with that you can create so many different flavour dimensions. I mean, it's blown my mind. My little fucking walnut of a brain was going into overdrive. It was fantastic. I couldn't believe it. I started to think to myself, well, if you had a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that, maybe that's why you're getting all these different flavours. And I suppose if you take a grain straight from the plant and it's still green and what have you, still fresh, I suppose dependent on how many days it's been fresh before it starts to, lose its freshness, would give different flavours. Where it's been growing, I mean, I know that if you grow grapes in a certain area with regards to all of the minerals that are in the soils, that changes the nature of a wine. So perhaps there's something going on there. And with that freshness of the grain, you still maintain that without soaking it out in some ways, creating a malt grain. Now, there's all these different facets to the Irish whiskies that I personally find exciting. You know, I find it extremely exciting, and we're going to get into this right now. After that little preamble, we're going to get into this. The Jameson Black Barrel. Now, here we go. I've stuffed a little receipt in there, so let me get the receipt out, because I'll let you know what I paid for this. Now, the Black Barrel usually comes at quite a high price for, you know, for a whiskey. It was supposed to be 37 quid. Now, you get the Ardbeg Wee Beastie for that same price. Now, that is a single malt Islay whiskey. And in my opinion, it's my favourite Ardbeg that I've tasted so far. But for the same price as an Ardbeg 5, which is the Wee Beastie, you get in the Jameson Black Barrel. So I was thinking to myself, considering how nice and how wonderful the Ardbeg 5 is, if this is the same price, then let's hope, you know, that it's going to be on the same par in regards to it being, you know, up there in the Irish whiskey range. So I had it for £13 off, though. I got it on offer at 25 quid. Let me just double check that. Yeah, I got it for 25 quid, man. Or was it 24 quid? Jesus. Oh, no, okay then. So it says here, look. Jameson 12 year. So this is a 12 year then, is it? I mean, that's what it says on the receipt here. It says Jameson 12 year. Not bad. So yeah, I must have got it for 24 quid then. It said 25 on the thing, on the little shelf. Either way, 24 quid for a bottle of 12-year-old whiskey, in my opinion, when it's supposed to be 37 quid, is absolutely fantastic value. So if you are near a Tesco, which is where I bought this from, and they have the same deal on, I can recommend that you should go and buy one of these if you haven't tried it before. I'm sure it will be an absolute delight. So I'm going to take it out of the bottle and then I'm going to read the box. So I'm going to take it out of the box and then I'm going to read the box. Because I like to have a look at the bottle first, you know me. Oh, look at the colour of that. That, again, for me, is a fantastic looking spirit. I mean, the bottle is a little bit generic. If you remember with the Arbor, it had like a nice, you know, it was embossed on the actual glass there. I mean, I suppose this is here at the bottom. It says produce of Ireland. Sorry, product of Ireland. That's nice. And I suppose it's not so generic. The actual neck of the bottle tends to taper off nicely at the top there. Since 1780, it says here on the back. And yeah, the labels are nice. If you feel them, there's quite a nice little texture to the labels there. The labels feel expensive, as far as an expensive label can feel. You know, as much as do we care? Who knows? It's all about the stuff inside. But anyway, let's have a look at the box first. I like this. I like this a lot. It kind of gives you a little bit of an extra bit of the, I don't know if you can see that, but it holds, if you look at that, how they fold in, it holds the neck in place so it doesn't wobble around. I've noticed that with a few whiskies, if you start rocking it around, you can hear the bottle rocking around. So that, in my opinion, is a fantastic feature, because as you can see there, you know, that's a fantastic feature. Thank you, Jameson. You know what, for thinking about us. And you know, because you stick that in the back of the car, what if it falls over and the neck of the bottle smashes off? Oh, and it says there, look, enjoy Jameson responsibly. Nah. Why would you want to do that? But anyway, I suppose, Mr. Jameson, it depends how nice it tastes. So on the back here, it's very simple, looks very nice, as you can see there, with gold. Very, very nice. Against the black, and it's like a matte black, it's very nice. It says here, matured in reawakened bourbon barrels for another level of smoothness. Unique richness with the intense vanilla sweetness, pot still spiciness, and nutty notes. From our land to your hand, as we say in Dublin, Salantia. So, Although it says here, product of Middleton Distillery, Middleton, County Cork, Ireland. So this is a Corkian whiskey. But it says here, as we say here in Dublin, Solancha. So either way, it's a Cork whiskey. And I suppose, on that note, there's not much else to read on the box. Thank God for that. We can get straight into the tasting. Now then, we'll take this off first. This is very nice. You know, this is very nice. It's not as nice as the Arbor with that nice thick tinfoily stuff. You know, it's a bit of see-through plastic, but yeah, it's got one. I remember on the Arbor it had two going down either side, the little sticky bit there. This has just got the one, but you know, who's counting? So let's have a little look. Let's have a in true form, you know. Let's have another. That's what we like. Oh yeah, that's dancing around the sinuses, that is. Oh, you know what I can smell? Shit, no. I can smell orange. I can smell orange and vanilla. It's like I can get like a citrusy, orangey smell with a vanilla. Which is funny because I know that they do a Jameson orange, don't they? Hope they don't mix the bottles up. On the nose, that is very, very nice. Now, as usual, we are using the Royal Scot hand-cut lead crystal glasses. I don't need to go back into the... Yep. Sometimes, let me explain while I'm smelling an empty glass here. Because it might seem a little strange. I was on a whiskey forum, and I was basically trying to find out what people's opinions were with regards to the Laphroaig 10 and the Ardbeg 10 and how they weigh up against one another. Because personally, I'm not a massive fan of Laphroaig, but you know, hence, you know, I'm an Ardbeg fan. But there was a few people on there saying that the Ardbeg tasted a little bit like soap. Now, the Ardbeg does have like an industrial soapy flavour to it when you first take it in the mouth. Now, that, I think, is actually part of the, you know, the enjoyment of it. Like I said, it's a challenging whiskey. I said this before in the other video. But one of the people on there said, well, I've never tasted soap. Maybe, you know, you washed your glass in suds and left it to dry and there was still some soap in the glass. So now, because of that, if that's a thing, then what I do now is I just rinse these glasses in just plain old water, and then I dry them with a paper towel, like a piece of kitchen roll, because I don't want any obstruction between me and the whiskey. So what I tend to do now is just give the glass a quick sniff, because if it smells like there's anything in there, you know, like soap suds, not that I ever use it, like I've just said, but you never know, do you know what I mean? It could have been contaminated on the old draining board as a few of the drops were drying off it. But, you know, be that as it may, if some form of residue is able to cling to the glass itself and create an obstruction, I don't want it. So basically, if that being the case, I'd give it another wipe out, perhaps give it another rinse. And plus, I don't want to taste or smell any of the last whiskey that I had in this, because ultimately, again, that's going to obstruct me and this new whiskey. You know, and we want to dance together quite closely in the mouth. So, hence the sniffing of the empty glass there. You know, there is a method to the madness. So anyway, here we go. Look at the colour of that spirit. That is fantastic. Again, it's reminiscent of Hobgoblin, isn't it? Or the, you know... Oh, and you know what? Speaking of beers, I might do a few beers on here. I had, the other night, a Theakston's Pale. Now, I've always thought that Theakston's just did the old Peculiar, which is a really dark ale. But they do a pale now. And let me tell you this, the Theakston's pale is fantastic. So, there's a bit of a side note there. Try the Theakston's pale ale. It's actually really nice. So anyway, here we go. The Jameson Black Barrel. We're giving it a go. Oh, what a sound. Let's just have a listen to this. That is a lovely sound, is it not? Here we go. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Just going to put the cork back in there. By the way, thank you to the person that commented on my video, on the first video, the Whiskey Treble 01. He was saying that you can get some slight oxidization from the just leaving it in the glass. As soon as you open the bottle, apparently that starts to happen, which can alter the flavour and bring the flavours out. And he also recommended, at a certain point, adding a little bit of water. But for me, that's not what I like. I've tried adding water, I've tried adding ice. And for me, that's just not what my palate likes. I prefer it to be as close to body temperature, really, as I can get it. So I tend to sit with it on my lap for a while. Personally, I find that gets the, you know, the flavours flowing for me. But I mean, everybody's different. It is quite a fruity aroma. Now, there's no guidelines here. This is a blind testing. There's no guidelines here other than the vanilla sweetness and pot still spiciness and nutty notes. So ultimately, what we're looking for today, we're trying to find the intense vanilla. We'll find out where that is, and the pot still spiciness and nutty notes. That's basically all we've got to go on. So, as I said, in the bottle and in here on the nose, it definitely has a citrusy, you know, a citrusy kind of vanilla-y fragrance. So let's have a taste. You know, let's wet the old lips. Now that is smooth. That is absolutely wonderful. My whole tongue is tingling. You know what? It's like vanilla ice cream. That is fantastic. In fact, I feel like what I'm going to do is get some vanilla ice cream and mix a bit of this in there. And it just keeps growing. I'm not getting the nutty notes just yet. There is a slight spiciness, but I feel as though it's a bit like spiced fruit. You know, like, you get like spiced oranges and stuff at Christmas. You know, back in there. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is going to develop nicely. Oh my God, that is absolutely spectacular. That is really, really... You know what? And for me, this is going to be the benchmark of a nice whiskey. My mouth is watering. Like, I've swallowed the fluid, I've swallowed the spirit, but my mouth is watering. It's gagging for more. You know when you... I'm starting to get a bit of tingle down here. That is fantastic. That, for me, is one of the nicest, smoothest whiskies I've ever had. It is literally like drinking vanilla ice cream with a sharp kick to it. A spicy kick. I'm going to have to have another sip it. In fact, should we try this one again, shall we? Pinky up. Absolutely spectacular. This, don't know what it is about sipping it like this. This whiskey on an absolutely... My mouth is still watering. Spat all over myself there. I've got the spit catcher here. But this whiskey, you know, before with the Arbor Law 12, what did I say? I said that I can imagine having a few people around, perhaps 2 or 3, and cracking that bottle open and finishing it with a few friends, because it was warm, it was welcoming, it wanted to give you a fucking whiskey hug. You see this? I'm drinking it alone. I'm having this one all to myself. That is basically the verdict for this. Open it and drink it. Have it to yourself. Don't share it, because this is too special to share. This, the Jameson Black Barrel for me, it's quite possibly the nicest Irish whiskey I've ever tasted. It's fantastic. I mean, you imagine, right, a set of scales, okay? This has got a feather on one side and a fucking brick on the other. And it's balanced. It's balanced, man. This is beautiful. I mean, the brick's made out of whiskey. You know, solidified, fucking iced whiskey. But this... Oh. You know, I might even get a Jameson tattoo. You know, the thing is, right, yeah, you watch TV shows, don't you? And people always go, they say, I'll have a Jameson. And what the regular one is like, I don't know, because I've not tried it before. Well, I have, but it was a long, long time ago. And I will do this. I'm going to do a side-by-side, as a matter of fact. I'm going to do a side-by-side Jameson tasting. I'm going to do this one with the standard Jameson, because I feel as though we need to do this right now. Because if this is so nice, I mean, this is triple distilled. I don't know, it says here, look, triple distilled Irish whiskey. Can you see that there? Now, I don't know if the other one, if the original, the standard one, in the green bottle and the green label and what have you, if that's triple distilled, it might well be. And if I'm mistaken, I apologise if there's any, you know, hardcore Jameson drinkers out there, you know, and I'm not doing this justice by saying, is it triple distilled? Because I suppose people who know. But I mean, I'm new to this stuff, and you know, please forgive me. Please forgive my ignorance here. However, if that's not triple distilled, then maybe if this is triple distilled, that's probably why this has got some of the smoothness there. If they're both triple distilled, then God knows how this is so smooth. This is fantastic. I'm going to have another sip. I have never had a more delightful whiskey. You know what? Up until now, the Ardbeg 5 Wee Beastie was my ultimate favourite of all whiskies that I'd tried. But I'm having to change the top spot. I'm going to have to change the top spot here, and I'm saying that Jameson Black Barrel is my new favourite. This, and you know what, considering the fact that they are both the exact same price when they're not on offer, although this one I got for 24 nicker on offer, 13 quid off, I'm telling you now, I feel like I need to go and buy another bottle of this just to make sure that I get another bottle at this price, because the Wee Beastie, even though it's 37 quid standard RRP, regular retail price, it usually only goes down to about 33 quid. So how this is so cheap, I will never know. But thank God it was, because you know what? I was umming and ahhing. I did see it the day before, and I didn't know if I was going to buy it or not. But the next day when I went in and I saw that it was on offer, I thought, you know what? Fuck it, I'm having one. So I had it, and I'm so glad that I did, because this is now, even though, like I said, it's the same price at regular retail price as my previous favourite. I'm sorry, fucking Ardbeg. I'm really sorry. But Jameson just pips it for me. This pips it to the fucking line. This is fantastic whiskey. It's fantastic whiskey. And you know what? Jameson, you've knocked it out the park, man. Every sip is a delight. You know, it's not harsh. I would say this. If you're used to whiskies being harsh, if you don't like whiskies. Say, for instance, I don't like whiskies because it burns your throat and you get that hot feeling, and I don't like it. This isn't that. Oh my God, this is just so nice. It's you know what? We're having another one. We're having another one here. A slight top up. We don't want to go too far. This is to you. Everybody who's watching this one is to you. Thank you for being here with me this evening. Thank you for continuing to support this channel. It's an absolute fucking delight that you're here with me this evening. Almost as delightful as the liquid that's in this glass. Let me tell you. You've got to be good to tip this. I'm sorry, but it's going to take a good whiskey to take the top spot from this one. It's going to have to be good. Up to this point, I've tasted some nice whiskies, and I've tasted some rotters as well. The Jura Journey, let me tell you, that is flat stuff. That is flat stuff. I mean, you have to try hard. It's so unchallenging. You might as well add water to it, and dilute it some, because there's no flavour in it anyway. I mean, for me personally, what my palate demands is something slightly more than what the Jura Journey has got to offer. So let me tell you, I've tasted some rotters. This stuff here is fantastic. I'm telling you right now, it's going to have to take a lot of whiskey, to overtake this one on the top spot of Mr. Cragcore's whiskey fucking favourite table. Sorry, the whiskey's gone to my head here. I'd like to have a bath in this stuff. Oh my God. I'd like to have a bath in this stuff, have a good soak, clean my armpits and everything, and then just walk around smelling like it. I feel as though I could wear this as cologne. Honestly, this is fantastic. Jameson, Black Barrel, nicest whiskey, hands down. It's so smooth. It's so flavourful, and it's a pleasure to drink. And I'm going to end it there. I feel as though I could go on and on and on about how beautiful this is, but I'd end up repeating myself. And with this final sip, I am going to say, sláinte. Wow, that is smooth. How you can get a whiskey that smooth, that flavourful, is beyond me. Because I've tasted some expensive whiskies and they don't round out. Some of them just do not round out. They remain harsh. Like I've said, some of them it's like fucking swallowing a cheese grater. This stuff is absolutely sublime. That's all I can say. I can highly recommend that you go and buy a bottle of Jameson Black Barrel. This is Cragcore signing off. Thank you for being here with me. I'm going to wish love and peace to all things everywhere right now. And, of course, peace on earth. See you next time when we enjoy a glass.